Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third party review. In today's video we're taking a look at the Zeta EX-05 Arcee or Arc, depending on how you wish to pronounce it. This is of course Zeta's take on the Transformer Arcee. This was originally released under the Toy World banner. Zeta left to do their own thing and took their designs with them. This is my first kind of masterpiece version of Arcee. I intended to get the fans toys version, but it has eluded me at present. It is something I wish to invest in just to compare them. But for now, this is a bargain price over at Robot Kingdom, so I couldn't pass it up. Take a quick look at the box. Yeah. All of their ex-Zeta products are done in these brown shippers. It makes sense. We already know what these toys look like, so why pay money to give us a box with images of a product that we have already had released? And here we have her out of her foam encased prison, and she looks gorgeous. In robot mode anyway. There are a few design choices that I don't necessarily agree with, but I absolutely adore this metallic paint scheme. It looks fantastic on her. There's a great mix of die-cast and plastic throughout her entire body, and she's a very well balanced figure considering the size of those heels that she's sporting. As you can see, I have attached swords to her waist. Now that's something that was present in the IDW continuity. Arcee was kind of an assassin and she had those swords in tow. And I've also attached her hands and guns, which is more in keeping with what we knew from the cartoon. But all in all, to look at shelf presence wise, she is a stunner. Now before we take a closer look, she does come with her Zeta card, with her tech spec. She comes with very clear instructions, and then she comes with a vast selection of an almost rubbery style of hands, which is very odd. It's the first kind of bombardment of rubber hands that I've had with a masterpiece style figure. We have the hand. I'm guessing that's an A-OK. We have kind of a hip, hand on hip version of the hands. You can place them down on those hips of hers. We have that very common peace out. That seems to be a very well loved hand in the anime, kind of the peace out thing. We have the pointing finger or the nose pecking finger there, and we have some open palms, which are fantastic again for the hips or for something like a palm strike. When you get her out of the box, she doesn't actually have any hands as standard, so I have added gun or sword gripping hands. They're the kind of most normal out of all the ones that are included, but that is a gorgeous rendition of Arcee. I love the metallic silver that they've used throughout. I would have liked a little bit on that toe there as well. There's nothing on the actual foot itself. I'm not a huge fan of the swords. That is, I guess, an option if you like that kind of IDW style to her, but the guns I love. Now the rubber doesn't actually grip the guns exceptionally well, and it's a rather odd connection. You kind of have to just wiggle it in. It stays there, it grips in the joint itself pretty well, but I can't say it's the most natural feeling slotting those hands in. Take a closer look at that face. That's a pretty nice Arcee face sculpt. Paint is a little bit thick maybe around that face. Really bright lips there. Again, used that nice silver on the head. We do have a sprue mark on the top of that head there on the seam, and going around to the back of the head as well, we've got detailing on the back, and we do have some light piping. Quite like these shoulder pad sections, not overly intrusive in comparison to some backpacks, she's meant to have these. You know, she had these in the cartoon. They weren't quite as bold as they are here, but they definitely don't look out of place on her anyway. We've got her robo butt there, and we have the back of the car. We have wheels in the back of her legs, and we have nice detailing along the calves as well. The guns themselves are pretty straightforward. We do have some red translucent plastic in the inside of the gun and in the sights, kind of giving it a laser sight. And we do have some more detailing on her torso. I mean, the hand on hip placement is absurdly good on this, and we can just have the hand kind of drawing the sword from its sheath, and she just looks so natural doing it. For one thing, she has a lot of articulation and there's a great use of those joints. You can really bring her hands around to the front, and they can even touch in the middle. You've got the rotation on the shoulder and on the bicep. I also really like the fact you can bring her legs in really close at the thighs there, so it gives her a very natural walking pose. Articulation is as follows. The head can move up and down. We can go left and right. This chest piece doesn't appear to lock in anywhere, so you do have motion on that as well, but really the upwards motion is pretty darn good, and the downwards motion isn't terrible. We can go left and right, and we can tilt quizzically side to side. The shoulders are on ball mounts and go all the way around. We get an upper bicep rotation, although it is incredibly stiff. We get not one, but two bends on her elbows. The hands just have a rotation at the wrist, but you can switch and change those as you see fit. We do have an upper torso rotation, very kind of Marvel Legends-ish, and it can kind of go forwards and backwards. You can't get as much range on there as I would like, but there is a rotation in there as well. There is no rotation on the actual waist itself, but the legs can slide inwards and outwards of the thigh, which can help with the posability, and the legs can come up and back. If we bring them out, we can go slightly further back, and we can come out to the side. Again, work that joint in or out. It's entirely up to yourselves. We have not one, but two bends on those knees, and they look very natural as well. The knee pad kind of moves with the joints, and it's a very natural pose. Coming down to the feet, we can go up and down on that toe, and we also have a very natural angle for that tilt. And because we've got that tilt on the ankle and the additional ball socket on the front of those toes, you get the illusion of a very wide splits. So you're going to get to about there with the feet flat on the floor. But if we take a look at those heel spurs, they do jet out to the side, unfortunately, but still that's a pretty strong stance. Here we have her alongside some of the other season 3 and movie bots, just to give you an idea of how she scales. Personally, I think that looks really good. I know some people prefer her to be a little bit shorter, some prefer her to be a little bit taller. Like I said, I really hope to be able to get a hold of the Fans Toys version just to compare them both, but for me personally, I do like how this looks, so I'm not going to lose any sleep over not having the Fans Toys version yet. And here we have her alongside the oversized Wei Zhang version of Generations Arcee. It's still, in itself, it's not a bad figure. It does have slightly widened hips, but a lot of people got that as a masterpiece stand-in until we got a decent version of Arcee, and Toy World's Leia was okay, but I do think that the Zeta version with the nice, gorgeous paint applications, tightened up joints, good use of plastic, I think it's a very good Arcee for a masterpiece collection. Now, as much as I like robot mode, she is a transformer, so we do have to change her up. This is possibly her weakest moment. A lot of people have critiqued the design of her vehicle mode, saying that it does look half finished. So let's take a look for ourselves. We can start off by just bringing the head forward. Let's remove her weapon for now. Bring this panel up behind that head, and we're going to remove her bosom. That's just going to detach. The shoulder panel is going to raise. We can then untab and rock her torso piece upwards. That's just scary looking, isn't it? Her head will now drop downwards into the torso. The front piece will flip up and out. If you look, this is all collapsed nicely along the side here. That's very neat and tidy. Now, unfortunately, we have to remove the hands. If you look here, you can see that the pink paint on the inside of the arms does rub off. Let's just move her hands out. Parts forming, unfortunately. I suppose with those really thin forearms, it's going to be difficult for them to do any like kind of hideaways in there. Not sure I like that choice really, but can't win them all, I guess. So let's move these arms upwards like so, and I want to just rotate those biceps so that the arm hinges face outwards. This piece slides downwards, revealing the seats. Arcee's toes come down like so, completely compressing, and then flip up and over, covering off the back of that heel. The legs then come out on that extended hinge. You see we have this hole in the arm there. We will eventually line these up and tab those in, but for now you want to just bring it up, and we want to flip this tab open like so. We can then bring the foot in. Make sure this heel piece flicks up, so this is kind of a rectangle shape, and then that's going to flip down. That's going to slide and slot into there. We can then bring this case back down, tab that in, and then that's going to tab into the elbow pad on those arms, and just make sure that we've got this kind of shape here on the crotch, and bring those wheels down out of the thigh cavities. We can bring in our guns, and there's a slot on either side here. The guns are just going to come in and tab in, although for some reason it does make them off center. They don't plug in and go directly forward. The swords using this tab here, and they can slide on there as well. Can't say I'm a fan of how the sword thing looks. I can see what people mean. It does look kind of half finished. You could expect them to do a kind of an add-on kit which just flips down over the back here and really finish off that alt mode. Because I mean, from the front, that's Arcee, 110%. It looks crazy good. And you come down to the dash area. We have some seats, we have some gearing in there, we have a little steering wheel which can move up and down. And then unfortunately the back just looks like some legs folded over. It is a shame because it's a gorgeous figure in its robot mode. The alt mode just doesn't cut it. It's definitely not masterpiece quality. Build wise, yes. Design and bot, yes. Alt mode really does let it down somewhat. It depends what you want from your figure. If you want it to be perfect in both modes, I still don't think we have an Arcee that ticks all of those boxes. But this is a fraction of the cost compared to the Fans Toys version. I will, like I've said, try and get a hold of the Fans Toys version if money allows. At the moment, so I've got to save up. We're getting a Power of the Primes Predicking in, and that's not overly cheap, but hey, it's a Titan size combiner, so I couldn't pass up on that. So at the moment, Fans Toys Arcee is shelved, but once I do get a hold of one, we'll compare it to Arcee. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you think, the bot mode versus the alt mode? And here we have her transformed up alongside Blur and Daniel. You know, I think they do look pretty good together. It's just that rear end that really lets Arcee down. Personally, still think Unique Toys Blur is one of the best figures Unique Toys have done. It is gorgeous. Yep, I think this definitely goes very well. If we're just looking at those front ends, it does fit in absolutely spot on. But if you tend to go around just beyond that front half, then it's debatable. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Once again, thanks to Robot Kingdom, and until next time, from myself and the Zeta EX-05 Arcee, goodbye.